Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at my top 10 picks for our top 100 coins that we need to kind of perhaps consider dollar cost averaging into. So these are basically just DCA targets that you want to kind of understand and consider, really just kind of addressing how much lower each one of these coins can go and should go based on Bitcoin's continuation to the downside. Obviously, Bitcoin continues on the way it's the same trajectory. We're going to see these key levels hit sooner than later, of course, right? So the whole point of this is kind of damage control, help you understand a little bit more about what's going on. Not telling you to necessarily sell or buy at these places, but typically dollar cost average targets are good places to take entry with small portions, small portions of your total of available portfolio, right? And I'll cover, dollar cost averaging more specifically in my trading academy. The general consensus, though, in my opinion, is just take 5-10% of your overall portfolio available, maybe USDT or whatever, and put that into, whichever coin you feel the most impactful, the one you believe in the most, essentially, and just continue to do so as you hit your targets. But be realistic, be kind of uptight with your targets. Try not to be just, okay, today feels like a good day. Have a game plan, get into it. Write this down. It's really important to understand that. Anyways, go ahead and take a look at KuCoin here first and foremost. And these aren't just in any particular order. I just kind of randomly threw them up here, so don't think that there's any priority list per se. But when it comes to Kro, we need to understand this one is free falling. Most coins are right now, okay? So that's kind of the default, I guess you could say. But we did lose a key level support right around 46 cents or 46, 48, right in that range. And previously, we have a nice support level here right around 33 cents. In fact, let me go and pull up the volume profile and kind of see. We're going to zoom in a little bit so we can kind of get the majority of that lower volume out of the way. So ever since KuCoin broke just say 22, 23 cents, we've seen the most volume accumulation right in the range of about 34 to 40 cents. So right above and currently where the price action is at right now is the largest amount of volume accumulation. Outside of course, this long stint here between 10 and 25 cents. It spent a long time there during the summer, if you recall that correctly. Now, at this point, the question is, do we hold, do we dollar cost average, whatever? It's truly up to you. I can't tell you what to do with your money, but I can tell you that we are likely to going to see a little bit of a downside because once we lose the support at 33 cents, the likelihood of it coming down to the next key level, previous resistance, of course, previous support level, it might be a resistance soon, is right around 24, 25 cents. So you can just say round number 25 cents would be a good dollar cost average target below the present price action. You can also see a very strong volume accumulation right around 16 cents. So truth be told, 25 and 16 are probably the two most relevant targets to shoot for. I'd maybe even say 17 to be on the safe side. So 25 and 17 would probably be the best targets to shoot for here. And also just consider, again, if you're to dollar cost average right now, it wouldn't be terrible. I would just say a very, very small amount, just based on the fact that, the likelihood of Bitcoin recovering from here right now is very low. And obviously, KuCoin, being as overextended as it was, it's going to take its time, and it's not going to be able to recover as quick as perhaps some other coins. All right, so just bear that in mind. Yes, still a good fundamental coin. I think eventually it'll bounce back, but I think its days are numbered for the moment, if that makes any sense. All right, so that's KuCoin. Take a look here at Phantom. Now, Phantom, we're going to probably have to draw out some of these lines here a little bit more realistically, kind of just draw it out for the more recent time frame, and kind of understand too kind of where we're at, because this previous support level here, there was a lot of volume. In fact, let me go ahead and identify that with you, just so you can kind of see we have a lot more volume in this range, right in between 132 and just say 165, based on the simple fact that that's where, a couple of bottoms were bought and it was a previous all-time high. There's a lot of reasons for it, but generally speaking, I would say 132 is a pretty solid DCA target for Phantom at this point, just based on the fact that it was a recent bottom in December, and obviously it was tested a few times in September as well. So that being said, that's kind of a general consensus of where the next target should be if we lose 176 or 177. We'll round up. We wicked down to 177 today. I think the likelihood of the price kind of varying between 177 and 210 is pretty realistic to see some sideways action there. Again, most of these are contingent on Bitcoin. Now, this is one of my top 5 picks for the quarter. So I can tell you that Phantom is not being impacted as dramatically as other coins, right? We just looked at KuCoin, for example. It's almost back to where it started, where Phantom's still holding strong. And I think the likelihood of Phantom still doing well this year is very high. There's a lot of reasons for that, but just how it performs contrary to Bitcoin's lack of success, is a very big testament, so to speak, right? So again, if you're going to consider dollar cost averaging into any coin, I would recommend Phantom probably above and beyond most of the other ones you're going to see here today, just based on the simple fact that it's holding strong. Now, granted, it's wicked down pretty significantly in only just what, 4 or 5 trading days. That's a lot of decrease, right? We take 1 week's worth of trading, and we take a look at there from top to bottom, that's almost a 47% correction. That's quite a lot, okay, considering Bitcoin has only moved about 25 to 30% in that time frame. But most altcoins are effectively getting impacted greater from there. Plus, they're all losing these key level supports. We've still got a decent amount of support left in Phantom, so that gives me some hope that we're still in pretty good shape. But truth be told, you zoom out, of course, you look at the volume. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of volume. If we kind of just say we take this time frame and scroll in a little bit, there's much more volume, between what 14 cents and $1, of course. But I realistically think that 130, correction, what is it, 130? Let's round up and say 133 is a really safe DCA target. Okay, so that's a good target there. Also secondary to that, of course, 166, that was a previous support and resistance zone. I think that'd also be advantageous to consider, or even 177. So you could just say 177, 166, and then I would say worst case is right around 133. Okay. So all good stuff there. And Atom is another top coin. That was one of my top picks as well. And it's also held up very well, right? We can see, obviously, we've got some strong wicks down recently, but it did recover quite nicely. In fact, it's not even dropping quite as hard as Phantom has. But you got to bear in mind, too, that Atom's been kind of in this range for a while. Its average true range is very high, all things considered. So let's take a look at its volume profile and kind of see where the most volume is. What we want to do is let's look at the last year. So let's just go ahead and do just January, essentially through January. And we can see the tremendous amount of volume right around $20.50. So we could round up and say 21 cents would be a good DCA target if we get down there. But the initial target, I would say, is right around $27, right? So if we just say $27.50, the secondary target there would be $22.75, maybe even round up and just say 23 as an even number. Because again, when you set targets for DCA, you want to set them just above a key level support or key level Fibonacci retracement. So for example, you see right here where the price wicked all the way down, had you set your target just at, say, at $28, for example, you would have got filled and the price came back up. That's the general idea. It's the inverse of taking a profit. For a profit target, you want that just below a key level resistance, right? So this being a key level support, so to speak, you want to set your DCA targets just above. That being said, once again, $27.50, $23 is a round number, as well as $20.50 would be, I would say, the most immediate DCA targets we want to plan on for Atom. Okay. Because again, a decent amount of volume in that range. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. You can see we got the most volume right here, right in between $19.50 and about $23. So this is a nice little support channel there. So just bear in mind, we do lose, if we do lose $27.35, it should continue to progress down to about $22, $23. Okay. But all good stuff there for Atom. Honestly, it's a pretty darn good coin. I think we're going to see some good things from it still. And I do think it's going to be one of the first few coins to take off and break its all-time high and start, a new price discovery once we have a little more stability from Bitcoin. This is probably going to be more of a February, March timeframe, but I think it is on the horizon. Also be on the lookout for Ethereum as well. We're not covering that here today, but that is, of course, a top 100 coin, number 2, and that one also has great potential to break free from Bitcoin. But we're getting close to that sweet spot of 2,000, which would be awesome to be able to get a fill there around 2,000. All right, so looking at Avalanche here, we've got some pretty obvious targets. It's taken a pretty significant hit, though. I mean, you look at this free fall, it's quite significant. If you kind of just take the last week's worth of trading, 45% is quite a lot. And we did lose a key level support at 72.70. So I'd say right now, if you were to get, just say, filled in the range of $52, it wouldn't be terrible. It would be maybe a nice little immediate target if the price were to come back down there. The likelihood of that is fairly high, but I think Bitcoin being as over-exhausted as it is, we're probably going to see a slower trickle down. I don't think we're going to see the price just shoot straight down to 29 if it were to hit that now. Check out my other my other Bitcoin video. I reviewed that today. I review it every single day now just to make sure we keep you abreast on the its activity. But it is looking very weak right now, and the likelihood of it continuing lower is very high. It's just extremely overexhausted right now, and it's less likely for the price to just shoot straight down. It's probably going to consolidate for a little while, perhaps see a small little bounce, maybe a dead cat, and then it's work its way down again. So that's why I'm saying that some of these more immediate targets that tested the support levels here, such as $52.50, that might be a decent place to get filled just in case we get some consolidation from Bitcoin, the price comes back up. But again, the likelihood of the price continuing down is very high. And that's why we're making these videos as a worst case scenario, just in case. And I'm making these series too. I have another one for gaming, another one for DeFi, and I'll probably do a microcap as well. And I'm going to update that frequently to ensure we can stay on top of these targets. That being said, to finish here with Avax, $52.50, sub that level. We've got a strong amount of volume accumulation, right around $28. So I'd say $28 is probably a good round number to shoot for. So your first target would be $52.50, and then 28 would be the next available. That'd be an awesome place to get filled, because that's a super strong support considering how much volume we have at that profile range. And that's going to help us understand that, hey, if we lose that, it's a different story, but I still think $28 is an amazing value for Avalanche. This is a really good coin. I don't know if you've ever sent funds through Avax, but it's awesome, especially with the Alice in Wonderland. Some of those awesome things there too. We can talk about that later. That's a conversation for another day. But generally speaking, Avax is a really good. I think this is going to be a really good coin eventually. It's on the horizon. I'm sure of it. All right, taking a look at XRP now. This is a big request, of course, so I want to make sure to cover it. Obviously, we got a tremendous amount of volume if we look really far back, down around 28 cents. But let's focus on the last year and just kind of see where the volume profile stacks up. So it's in between 40 and 50 cents. We're seeing the most amount of volume. Actually, if we just range that 40 to 60 cents, which is really right around where the price action is at right now. So we just broke this key level support at 60 cents. We're at this potential price discovery range, like the inverse of an all-time high, where the price literally could free fall from here. But the good takeaway is the simple fact that we have a lot of volume in that 20-cent range between 40 and 60 cents. And that's right where the price is traveling into right now. So that should reaffirm a strong level of support based on the simple fact that we have the most amount of volume at that range. So really good stuff here from XRP in that regard. So I would say that the likelihood of it coming down to 40 cents is fairly low, but that would be the next target range, sub where we're at presently. So you can maybe even split the difference, say 50 cents and 40 cents as two DCA targets. And then of course, worst case scenario, we travel down into the 30-cent range. And I would say just above that Fibonacci retracement level of 30 cents would be ideal. So really simple numbers here. 50, 40, and 30 cents would be good DCA targets for XRP. Also wouldn't be a terrible idea to consider add to your position at 60 cents, because once again, XRP, I do think eventually once all this stuff is in the past, we could see some pretty good things. It did hit somewhere almost in the range of $2 at one point. I remember that. That was a very strange time. All right, moving on to DOT. Let's go ahead and take a look here. And this one's interesting as well because we have the most amount of volume above the current price action, right? So let's go ahead and just focus on the specific most recent time frame. So this one, and when I say interesting, I just mean like not the greatest in the sense of the fact that we don't have a strong foundation. So the bottom could literally drop out, which it kind of already has. And, kind of speak to that, the most volume accumulation for DOT is about $28, okay? We're at $18 presently. So just bear in mind, when we get back up to that point, that'll be a strong resistance. But for now, the second most, I guess you could say the most amount of volume is right around where the price action is at right now, or just below, about $16, because we see this little wedge here. You can kind of tell there was a moderate amount of volume accumulation right here at this support level. Okay, so that being said, $16 would be probably a pretty safe DCA target for DOT. And then if we were to go ahead and kind of narrow it down and look at some other factors here, we're looking at what, right around $9. Let's say $9.50. Actually, I skipped one too. Let's summarize here. $16 would be a good starting point for a DCA target, number one. Number two would be $11.50. That was a previous resistance level, basically an all-time high, as well as $9.15. Again, I'm taking a number just a little bit above these key level supports based on the fact that you're more likely to get filled if you were to set a limit order there, right? So again, 16, 11.50, and 9.15. Okay, and that is for Polkadot. All right, moving on to Harmony One. This one is interesting if I recall correctly because it didn't, I mean, it has so much volume at a lower price point because it just pretty much went sideways and then went crazy bonkers up to about 21 cents. In fact, this is one of my bigger profitable coins I recall back from March. So I think I got in around 2 or 3 cents and it just went awesome. Regardless of that simple fact, let's go ahead and zoom into just say, let's go a little closer here. Let's go ahead and just exclude that lower section of volume and kind of focus on March through now. Okay, so obviously we have a strong foundation down here around 3 or 4 cents, but more immediate, what we're looking at is, well, this is nice. We got the most amount of volume accumulation right at about 16 cents, which is below the price action presently. So 16 cents would probably be the most immediate dollar cost average target. And then secondary to that, we got right around 13, right around 13 and a half cents. So 13.5 would be a good range too. And then of course, I wouldn't say we're going to see a free fall, but Fibonacci retracement basically tells us somewhere in the range of about 7 cents would be the tertiary target there. So initial is 16 cents, secondary is 13.5, and the very last tertiary target is right around 7 cents. Keep in mind there could be some travel, some play here in between 7 and 13, but for the most part, we could expect the price to continue down that far based on its current trajectory and where it's holding up so far. Good news is there's a lot of key level supports right where the price action is at presently. It might very well hold and recover soon. It does appear to be one of those coins that should in fact do very well in the immediate near future. So I do think once we see Ethereum break free from Bitcoin and phantoms and atoms start taking off, Harmony One will probably be right there alongside that. It's just my speculation based on its fundamentals, but generally speaking, it's definitely looking very good, and those would be the targets for Harmony One. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at Matic here. And just to go ahead and, I guess what we'll do is we'll zoom in a little bit because the volume profile is a little skewed based on the fact that it's done very well for itself since April. So minus the fact that there's a lot of volume accumulation around the, 38 cent range. We'll go ahead and zoom in, kind of exclude that. And let's go ahead and see what we can find here. So the volume kind of ranges a little bit depending on how far in you zoom. But generally speaking, we're looking at a solid range of volume between 105 and 147. So presently the most amount of volume, if you were to just say take April 25th till now, is right in the range of a 140 to 150. That's right where the price action's at presently. We can also see a key level support there as well. So the likelihood of Matic coming down much lower in the immediate future is very low in the sense of Bitcoin not just say going sideways, right? Because a lot of coins are going to continue to sell off even if Bitcoin just kind of stays static. It goes straight sideways. That being said, Matic is likely to hold and in fact recover from that very nicely. It's done very well in the past. And we have a strong support level there, but that's not why we're here, right? We're here for kind of a worst case scenario. So let's go ahead and talk about that. I would say more immediate, $1.40 would be a good DCA target initially. Obviously add to your position where it's at presently, at least close to this range, 140. Sub 140, we're looking at right in the range of just say, well, $1 is a pretty straightforward level. So I'd say $1, maybe just say $1.05, 105, kick it just above that key level of support. So 105, so 140, 105, and then secondary to that, we see a decent amount of volume even still, right at about 77 cents. Again, rounding up a little bit, 77 cents would be a good one. So 140, 105, and 77. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Near protocol and kind of run just the same scenario here as well. Let's go ahead and see what the last year looks like. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of volume at $2.33, but if we zoom in just a little bit and we kind of consider the more recent price action after it's increased and we're getting rid of that base, we see a lot of volume close to where the price is at right now. So right around $9 is the strongest volume accumulation. So I'd say that that's probably a pretty safe DCA target just below $10. So I'd say, you could consider $10, but also $9.15. Then of course below that too, there's a decent amount of volume, basically right around the volume base here as well at about 730. Now the question is here, how much lower is Near going to go? Yes, there's potential of seeing 583, but I think that's less likely considering how much time it's spent here. From September to December, it's done very well for itself. It's well over $7. Okay, so I think the more immediate one, I can make another video like this here soon if Near were to break that, but the immediate DCA targets would be just say a round number $10.15, rounding up a little bit right above that support level. And then we're also would consider, I would say $9.15 and then $7.35. Those would be my three targets there for near. I don't foresee us coming down into the $5 to $3 range. Obviously, we'll bridge that gap if we need to, but I don't foresee that happening at least in the immediate future. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at ADA. And I think this is one of my last coins, if I'm not mistaken here. And we'll go ahead and call it a day. So ADA is interesting because obviously it spent a lot of time at the 14-cent range up until January of this year. So even if we zoom in, we still see a lot of volume. Let's go ahead and exclude that volume and just kind of focus on the most recent price, where are the prices at presently? And this is one that concerns me probably the most, based on the simple fact that, it's very similar to Bitcoin in a way where it has this major shelf at 29,000. Well, we're testing that. And in fact, I think we even came below that here today. Whereas we had this, what we've seen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now, 6 candle wicks below the level of $1. Basically, 101 is essentially that support level. So ADA has not come below 101 since it broke that level in February, right? So it's almost spent a full year above that price action. So if we lose that key level support, we are going to see some serious problems because there's not a lot of volume. You see this big gap right here? There's not a lot of volume between there. And that is a major concern. So if I were you, I would recommend setting your targets somewhere in the range of just say 67 cents, because that's kind of the very first initial support level, and maybe even 41 cents. So 41 cents, 68 cents if we round up a little bit, and then possibly consider adding to your position presently where it's at right now, but I wouldn't even bother. I think ADA is ready to drop its bottom hard. That's just based on the way it looks. As soon as we lose this support, which it's pretty much right there, you can kind of tell we candle wick down. If Bitcoin drops to 33.5 or just say 29, what do you think ADA is going to do? Do you think ADA is going to hold strong at $1? No, not even close. I'm sorry. ADA is just, I don't want to use the word trash, but it's the chart is trash in that sense where it reeks of significant bottom droppage, and it's not going to do very well. All right, I hope you understand that. I mean, no disrespect if you're a Cardano fan. I think big picture, it's a good coin, but the TA is just horrendous. All right, this is the last coin. In fact, I do want to cover is Rose, because I've covered this a lot recently, and of course it's gotten very big, very fast to an extent, but also very consistent. And we can see obviously some consistent downside too. And I haven't looked at TD sequentially yet. I'm just kind of curious where the 5. So bear in mind there is still strong potential to see 5 to 10 more days worth of bearish sentiment. I don't think it's going to be as severe. I think it's going to slow down a little bit. But the one thing you need to understand too is like big picture, it's actually still doing very well. Like I know it seems kind of crazy, but the bottom line here is that Rose is actually in decent shape, all things considered. So if we take a look at the volume, in fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the volume. Let's just out of curiosity, let's go ahead and see what the big picture looks like. So since beginning of the year, the most amount of volume accumulation is at 2 key level supports. We don't need to worry much about 8 cents because I think we're a long ways off from that. But right around 20 cents, I'm rounding up again, it's basically 19.3. Right around 20 cents is a key level support, right? So I'd say that is an awesome DCA target for if you're to get filled there, that'd be excellent. So I would say set a limit order around 20 cents, then also 28 cents, because even though, yes, the price action is right there and it could go lower, if the price were to recover and just say Bitcoin were to turn back around, which again, I think is less likely, 28 cents would also be a target, okay? But, truth be told, do you really want to buy in right now when the price could drop even further? Maybe not, right? Again, it depends on your overall perspective and what your plan is for Rose. Can we get a better price action than 28 cents? Yes, I do think so. I think 20 cents is a really strong consideration for a buy. So I'd say 20 cents and 15 cents are the two more immediate targets for Rose. And obviously 8, or you could say 9 cents as an extreme worst case scenario. Once again, I think the likelihood that's fairly low, at least in the immediate future. If Bitcoin drops 29, it might be a different story. But for right now, 20 cents and 15 cents would be some really good targets here for Rose. So that's all I have for you here today. I hope you found benefit. Of course, the whole point of this is to help keep you abreast, make sure that you are on target with where you need to go, right? Because all we can do in these types of environments, minus short selling, is to obviously continue to add to our position at the right times. try not to get too hasty. Try to set money aside. If you have less than 50% of your overall portfolio in USDT right now, or whatever tether you prefer, you're doing it wrong. Okay, and I mean that no disrespect. I'm just sincerely telling you right now, you should be fairly liquid at the moment and try not to just buy every single dip. We've got a long ways to go until we get that bottom. And obviously, if you're new to crypto, you'll understand that this is kind of a normal thing. You got to get used to kind of having money set aside for these things. Obviously, if you're hodling, it's a different story. There's nothing wrong with that. But I cover all this in my trading community, and more importantly, my trading academy. I get very specific on scenarios like this with examples, etc. And that's all going to be available through my trading community month end. So all those videos will be ready to go. It's over 4 hours of content, just kind of walking you through the steps of being a better trader. So check that out in your own time. If you're not currently a community member, consider subscribing. First of the month would be ideal, just based on the fact that we're transitioning away from Patreon over to a new platform, and it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be better, user-friendly, etc. But it would be a little less work, a little less moving parts there, so to speak. So either way, we'll take care of you, and thank you so much to my current community members as well for your support, and obviously your patience in this transition. We'll get through this as we have before. It's not the first time we've done this, but the whole point is to upgrade everything to make sure you have a better, more user-friendly scenario. So I greatly appreciate, again, your patience. Thanks again for seeing me here. We'll look forward to seeing the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.